Welcome to thestockminer.com. I am Brian Johnson, and this is a brand new day. It is Monday, brand new week of trading. We saw a little bit of a gain by the bulls. Now, we talked a little bit about things to watch, what to look for. I always give the bulls, I said, or bears, a chance to get back above certain levels. Some of that was accomplished today. Was looking for more of a push by the bears today. Now, obviously, we did not get that, but in light of that, we are coming back into these overhead resistance levels that I had made mention of over the weekend. The bounce, I was if there was going to be a bounce today, I was looking for it to come back into these overhead moving averages, and that's pretty close to where we got to today. And overall, yeah, okay, so are the bulls buying the dip? Yeah. I'm not convinced at the strength of the purchase that was made. I mean, the bulls are buying the dip, but I don't think it was to any really great extent. I mean, they didn't necessarily rip the markets up by any means today. So here we are coming only right back, especially on the Dow here, to retest some of these overhead areas. This might give us opportunities to watch for short positions. We do have opportunities both direction. If we can get back above these moving averages, okay, now we've got at least an opportunity to play this thing back to the long side again, see how far it'll go. Otherwise, if it'll hold these areas we're talking about here, we could be in good shape and see a further decline in the markets. So while today's move was up, while it did hold here on the Dow, you can see it pretty much got the 20-day last week. Not exactly the touch I was looking for, but close enough. You can see that the move was up today. But I'm not overall convinced with what I saw based on volume, based on internals. The bulls have a lot more work to convince me that what we saw today was anything of a bigger nature. So I'm still watching the Dow carefully and loving any kind of a short that gets back below that 20-day moving average. Keep that in mind as we enter tomorrow and even Wednesday. This might take a little while to work itself out here. If this is some sort of a initial wave down, we could be working on some sort of a little zigzag ABC type of a correction. I'm really watching these overhead areas. You see the Dow coming back into it. You see the NASDAQ not quite being as strong as the rest of them today. It was up decently, 0.5%, but still not reaching these overhead levels. I really want to see if these will hold when we get up to them. So let's watch and see if we do reach these areas into tomorrow. And then what will the bulls do? Will they pull it up, or will the bears decide to take over again? Looking for more of this action in that respect. NASDAQ back below these levels here. I think it will be decided then that the bulls are maybe going to sit back for a while and let the bears have a little bit of fun, as we should see some lower prices then roll into the market. So here we are holding as of now below that 20-day moving. Remember I said we closed below it. Now I want to see if we'll hold below it. Now the Dow got back above it, but the NASDAQ did not, and these can still be some leading indicators for us. So we're going to continue to watch to see. This is the bigger overhead level to be watching on the NASDAQ, above that 2290-ish, 95-ish level on a close for the NASDAQ. Here's where I was a little bit over the weekend, and that is on the weekly charts here. We are still seeing this as nothing but a pullback. I still cannot be convinced quite yet that this is anything major by the bears until we start to break these lower levels. We start to reach these, now we're talking. Getting below that 2250 is a very, very good first start for the bears in that respect. Here we go with the SPX also coming back up into these overhead levels. Not bad moves by the bulls today, up 10 points within the SPX. That's a pretty decent move over the course of a day. So you can see it was bought up a little bit, but with no real gusto. The internals just were not giving me any kind of indication that this is anything heavy by the bulls as of yet. Still watching to see. Back above 1290-ish, that's what we'd be looking for from a bullish level to see if that'll happen. More importantly, closes above that area is really what I'm watching. Back below here are definitely your areas to be looking for your shorting opportunity. So are we in some sort of a initial wave here with a little ABC type of a correction? Yeah, certainly could be. We'll watch that into tomorrow and see what kind of strength we get or don't get from the bulls. Really watching these overhead levels here closely. SPX daily, same type of thing. The NASDAQ did not get back above the 20. The Dow, the SPX, managed to do it. This is why I always give it a day to recover. So I'm sure there was a lot of talk over the weekend about closing below the 20-day, and it is a big deal. It's exactly what you're looking for if you're bearish. This is not what you want to see come the very next day. You want to see these levels hold. We did not see that, and that's why I always give the other side, in this case the bulls, a chance to recover and regain this ground. I didn't see anything major come out over the weekend, and you guys can talk about Egypt all you want, but I just don't think Egypt has any effect on really what goes on over here. It just doesn't seem to be a big deal overall to the market. So you can see the bulls recovering this 20-day moving average. Not a lot of zeal, not a lot of gusto with this particular push to the upside. And that's why I'm curious to see where we go even into tomorrow and Wednesday. Will we try to get back below this? Or will we try to push further up, higher up into these upper levels? Weekly, same type of thing. A little bit of a pullback right now. Really want to see where that closes by the end of the week. That'll be more indication for me. The VIX didn't go anywhere. I love the huge spike we saw on the VIX. Notice today we are down 2.5%, but really going nowhere. This is good. This is good for option buyers. Keep that VIX high and see if it'll consolidate sideways, maybe back a little bit. Really looking for it to hold by the end of the week above that 20-week moving average. Apple 60-minute did see a bit of a climb, up about 1%, recovering from some of these lows. You can see how well these lower areas hold, once again, when you have everything drawn in the right place. So be watching these carefully within the charts from week to week. Here we now are back up to the 20-period moving average, regaining the 50. That's good, but still trapped between the two moving averages. If you're looking for anything in Apple, you really want to wait till it gets above about 340-ish or so before you look for any kind of a long in Apple. This whole thing here is nothing but big, messy consolidation. You really want to wait, once again, for some of these larger levels to be broken. I like 345 and I like 325. So we've got quite a range to wait. If you're a more conservative investor or trader, those are the levels you really want to be watching going forward within Apple, if you like Apple. Apple weekly, same type of thing. Let's see if it continues its march upwards. If it does, looking at that 350 level, still like that overhead blue line for overhead resistance. Any kind of topple within Apple eventually could take us back. Might take a little while, but could take us back into this 315 range. FAS 60-minute was up 2.5% today as well after the big drop here. You notice how we broke this blue line, stopped at this lighter thin blue line, and that's where we launched today. Right back into what? Oh yes, the moving averages before pulling back. So giving you targets, giving you ideas on any trades that you might have been doing from an intraday basis. Not real interested in taking this thing overnight for any particular reason until we get above this level and below the 29 level, which are the levels I've been talking about forever. Intraday perspective, sure, if you want to dabble in this above here, you bet, but watch that $30.50 level in FAS. Same type of thing here. Look at this sideways choppy consolidation. This is why I'm not interested in it from a longer term hold. Above 30.50, below 29 once again. FAZ, same type of thing. We're above this blue line and we're holding above it. Now from a bull standpoint, I love that. Love that. It's got to continue to do it though. It can't drop back into this channel, otherwise it's just kind of whatever. We're back to the whole bearish type of a look. However, daily perspective, straight sideways. So I still like it above the 20-day. I love it above this 925-ish area here. Back above these levels. I've been giving them the last few videos. You guys can go back and look at those. And I like it below 820. So short below 820. Back above maybe the 20-day if you want to get more spec on your plays. Otherwise above about 930-ish, let's call it 960-ish, $10, 10.50, all these levels up here still playable to the long side on FAZ, but anything below 820, I'd leave it alone. Leave it alone. And that takes us back to the beginning. Now, for those of you that are curious about what is contained in the newsletters, let me show you some of the trades we had last week. On the video newsletters, I go into a lot more detail about the markets. My subscribers get a lot more of what I'm thinking, where I really see us going over the next couple days. I give a good round summary for the daily viewers, but I get into a lot more detail with my subscribers. We also talk about the dollar. We talk about some other markets, some foreign markets. And I always give them some things to trade during the week, some stock picks to trade during the week. So if the markets aren't moving, a lot of times these stock picks are, and these are the stock picks from last week. There's a whole new set of them this week. So last week we looked and we traded ACGL. calls were above 89 into the $90 area for your target. I give a lot more entries and a lot more exact entries and ideas for trading these particular stocks too, by the way. So if you're looking for something that gives you a good exact entry and good points of exact exits and stops, I give people stops. Hey, put your stops here. I do that for my subscribers. It's all value added. Here was I took a break above here with a lot of my subscribers, and they some of them sat it out, and we got out. Well, one of my suggested areas was 90, and then 91 above that. They made their own choice as to where they got out, but I don't tell you. I don't hold your hand through the whole thing because some of you might want to wait for higher levels. It's up to you. But I had their stops in place, so we made money on it anyway. Here was one long. This is what we traced last week. And then back below here again, we were definitely out looking to go short. So ACGL gave us some good stuff to trade. CAT was one. We got in above here, traded it up into the end of last week and made I think it was above 95 was my call there. So we made about a buck or two if you held all week long. Otherwise, during the course of the week, if you decided to get out, that was fine. You still made money on it. Over and above that $95 level was my call there. MELI, we took a short below this blue line and put stops in up above it and waited. By the end of the week, we had pulled out about $2-3 in this one. Some people got in below the 50. They made money on that. Some people got in below this line right here. They made money on that. Not as much, obviously, as some of these higher levels. But these are the type of things you get in the newsletter. Options, places to get in. If you missed the first entry, I still give you a lot of extra entries if I see them, if they're there. In this case, it was this blue line, then the 50, then below here. So we did make money on MELI last week, too. And WIN was another one we traced. This one really was untradeable for me. We had a couple of stops out where we tried to get long above this area here, and it was quickly shot straight to the downside. I did not tell him to get short, but of course I don't want to show you only the winners and state that I'm some sort of guru where I get everything right. I don't. I'm probably, I don't know, 60 to 80% correct on most of my calls. I don't get them all right. This was one last week that just chopped sideways. Took it off the charts this week. Some of them work beautifully, some of them not so good. But overall, they usually work out pretty well in the bigger picture. So this was one that we had on last week's chart. I've taken it off for this week because it's just chopping sideways. It's not going anywhere. No sense in sitting around. There's better trades to have done. But this was one that we had on the charts last week. Didn't really work out for us, but the other ones did. So if you want to know what's in the newsletter, that's a good idea. Gives you a bigger idea of what goes on within those newsletters. Okay. That'll be it. We'll see you again tomorrow night. And let's see tomorrow if the Bulls decide to rip this thing upwards or if the Bears are going to keep them in check. That is the theme of tomorrow. And for the rest of you, if you stick around, I'll see you in the subscribers newsletter if you are part of that. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.